Now client is telling I need to increase the length width. So that is like a common
If the
thing
petrol is
which
not
come
there, of
across.
course, Sarfan will let you know.
So D is basically omission of any work unless it is to be carried out by others. So from the contract, if you're omitting something, that's a variation, negative variation. But you cannot omit and give to somebody else. That will be, deal to some other clauses of the contract.
No, actually,
Because I
just ask here.
entered into the
It
contract
says
to do
zero.
the full scope of work. But you taking some work and give to somebody else, that's other scenario. But I am coming to as a contractor, I came to the work, okay. There was 150 number of light fittings to be installed. Instead of 150, you're telling 120. That makes sense actually. Okay. Because I need to purchase 150, 120 only. I need to install 120 only. So this is a straight variation. But what if there's a 150 light fittings and they're telling install only 50 light fittings or 10 light fittings? So that is a variation, but the there will be different layers. I will explain later. So we have A, B, C, D covered, and E is the any additional work, which is like like when client instructing to do additional things. That's they ask you to bring extra plan material. That's all like it's like straight variation. And F is changes to the sequence or timing of the work. I mean, guys, this is very important actually. When you change the sequence or timing, it's again a variation. You know why? Because uh, for night shift, for night shift, we may need to give OT to my contractors or consultants or intern consultants. And if my people need to work at a holiday or Sunday or a public holiday, again, that rate is different. Even UAE or any government would say, if you work in a public holiday, you have to pay them like two times or 1.5 times. So if I'm telling my contractor who's praised something, with an assumption, I will be installing everything in a day shift. But I'm telling, don't do day shift. You go everything night shift. The sequence or whatever the timing is changed. When it's night shift, I need to make special arrangement for my labors. I might not be have labors that night shift also, and I need to make arrange food
Mohsin,
for
where I
them.
wanna
I
go?
need to make different arrangement for them. So this is all called change in sequence or timing. Also will constitute a variation. So I just explained what is variation, and now I'm going to this when we can issue a variation and what is the consequences. Okay, so basically variation, you can see the first sentence of it. Variation may be issued by engineer at any time prior to issuing techno certificate. So basically a contractor who is doing a scope of
मोहसिन भाई,
work and there is a
ये ड्राई फ्रूट
consultant,
चॉकलेट ये
he
सब तो
can
हैंड लगे में
issue a
ठीक है ना?
variation order any
ऑयली
time
चीज वो सब
till
नहीं डालना
taking
है.
over certificate. So then you might think, what if after taking over certificate, if there is a additional work or at something else the contractor has to do, what will I do? So again, the consultant can issue a variation order
Madhya,
Battery is
after
not up.
TOC
Madhya, see,
also,
We
Madhya, see,
cannot
but
stick
the only
battery
thing
in the
is
luggage,
the
right?
Madhya,
rate
see,
or BOQ
in
rate
front.
may not
What?
be applicable.
Toyota.
That is the only difference.
This
Okay.
type of vehicle they will fuck me.
So up
But
to
this is not
TOC, you can say
city.
BOQ rates are applicable, but after TOC, you
Yeah, yeah.
cannot tell
Here
them
it's
like
like
the
village. Yeah.
BOQ
In
rate
village
will
we
be
are how
applicable or not.
the people are
That
driving the
is
car,
the
right?
Of course.
that is the only difference.
Yeah.
Oh, guys, one second, somebody else is joining.
Be slow, huh? Here. Because this idiot, we don't have any
I
like
should
Yeah.
I
from
should
where they will come.
stop admitting people if
Like
not joining on time.
big idiot.
Okay, so
भाई ये
that is
कैसा
the
है वो
main thing
तो
about
ये
the variation. And can you just look in a second
बहुत
sentence?
स्मूथ है ना.
Contractor shall execute and bond by each variation unless the contractor promptly give notice to engineer stating that the contract cannot readily obtain the goods required for
मेरा
the
भांजा भेजा
variation.
ऊट क्लासिक
Okay,
अहमद
so
का, लेकिन
normally
अहमद
when
का
the
मिलेगा
engineer
लेकिन है ना.
issue an instruction,
हाँ.
contractor is obeyed or expected to follow
क्या
those
ये
instructions.
लाइट है मतलब एक
But
फूड
only in
केक.
some cases, like I'm
हाँ.
instructing being a client or being consultant, I am instructing my contractor to bring some plant or equipment, whatever. beyond his control, or it has a long lead item, or he cannot obtain this readily. In that cases, he can explain to me like, no, see, this is not possible. I'm trying my level best to obtain. He will show some quotations, and he will show some mails and all. See, I'm just trying my level best to get this thing, trying to get this thing inside country, but nothing is being materialized, so I would not be able to do it. Sometimes, we will ask for the contractor to bring some special chandeliers or some specialized item, and they will be
यहाँ
very
पे
difficult to bring, because
क्यों
maybe
इतना
as a
इतना
client I
पॉइंट
can bring it easily, but contractors find difficulty. So those cases, they can say, I cannot do it, but they have to
लेकिन
immediately
ये
notify to the engineer. So we just
बंगाली के
cover the
पास जो भी है
first
मैं
13.1
वो
right
बंगाली
to
में
vary of
दूसरा एक जो
variation.
शॉप आपका है ना
If
जो खुल
any
रहे थे
doubts,
वो जो
please ask.
सब्जी का शॉप है उसका वहाँ पे मैं गया तो सेम काजू
Team,
का
this is
भी
a
यही रेट है
very
और बादाम का
important
भी
thing in
मतलब उसके
terms
पास भी
of
दो तीन
contract
क्वालिटी है
administration. Understand the variation, and change management is a
वो अलग है
very important thing, and people,
लेकिन जो मैं काजू
lose
लिया ना
hell lot of
इट्स
money
ओके
for
लाइक
not having a
आप
proper
यूएई में
change
भी सेम
management
एक्सपीरियंस रहेगा
system in the
मैं वो
company.
सही समझा
So if
बादाम का भी
anybody having any doubt about this variation, just
क्योंकि वो
ask
बड़ा
me,
बड़ा वाला
please.
इतना ही मिलता है मुझे याद है डेट नहीं मुझे नजीब भी बोला कि डेट उधर से लो 5 नंबर के पास याद है आप शायद एक बार लेके आए थे हम
Hope
लोग
I
बाई
will